So Amazon's Lord of the Rings is going to be a complete disaster, not only in the fan perception, but also financially. And yeah, you're probably saying, well, Amazon doesn't care too much about the financials. Amazon doesn't care too much if this show loses a certain amount of money. But putting $1.5 billion into a Lord of the Rings show that could have been very, very good if it just simply followed the canon, if it simply, acknowledged Tolkien's work, this could have made a lot of money for Amazon. And I think Amazon will probably be able to understand that, but I don't know, because at the same time, you would think that Disney would understand that Star Wars could have been a lot better with the sequel trilogy if they just simply acknowledged George Lucas's work, but it took them a long time to figure that out and actually hire people who cared about Star Wars, and even they can't really figure it out, it seems. But anyway, it seems like this movie or this show is going to lose a lot of money for Amazon. And there's already a big movement in my comment section, in the comment section of the trailers, to go watch the show on sites that aren't Amazon. Obviously I got to dance around certain terms. I can't directly say it, but you understand what I'm saying. Go watch it on other sites. Wait for a few hours after the show comes out and go watch it on other websites that's not Amazon. I'm not saying go do that. I'm just saying simply there's a big movement of people telling others to go do that because they don't want to support this show. But at the same time, I believe that you should give the show a shot. Give it a fair shot when it comes out, even though the trailers, even though the marketing material, the images that we've seen have looked very bad and also very contradictory to Tolkien's work. I think you should still give the show a shot because there is an out there chance that the show could actually be good. More than likely though, just simply based off the marketing, this show will probably lose Amazon a lot of money because they spent $1.5 billion on the show. So I don't think they'll make their money back on that. And I think that'll also incentivize them to not make any more Lord of the Rings content going forward. But I guess we'll see. Let's check out the ratios that are going on with these trailers though. This one's the UK trailer, and we have something to show you in the US trailer that's actually pretty crazy. But this one's the UK trailer. It has 5.1 million views, 23,000 likes, to 46k dislikes. Pretty decent ratio. It's actually pretty shocking that it's been ratioed this bad with 5 million views because, like I said a million times, it's pretty tough to ratio trailers like this. We saw on the Star Wars YouTube channel, I showed you a couple of videos ago where every single video on the Star Wars YouTube channel was getting ratioed every single day, mostly High Republic videos and stuff like that, because we had the Gina Carano firing, and then we had Christina Ariel and Justina Ireland come out and say very racist things on Twitter, and then Justina Ireland even said that if you don't agree with my politics, don't read my book, and just crazy stuff like that. Just absolute insanity going on at Lucasfilm, and every single YouTube video is getting ratioed because of all that going on. And then the Bad Batch trailer dropped, which I don't think has that much mass appeal. People weren't sitting there waiting for the Bad Batch trailer to drop, but then it got 3 million views and it was overwhelmingly positive in the like to dislike ratio. It was way more likes than dislikes on that video. So it's hard to ratio trailers like this. So the fact that this has 5 million views and it's ratioed this badly is actually pretty crazy. And then go to the US Prime video, 27 million views, and it is officially ratioed. Now we have 99,000 likes to 104k dislikes. That is an absolutely crazy ratio because, I just went on that whole spiel about how it's hard to ratio these bigger trailers, especially when it comes to stuff like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, these legacy IPs where, normal people out there who have no idea what's actually going on with the behind the scenes of these shows and what they're actually trying to do, the agendas that they're pushing and stuff like that. The normal people out there who are just living their lives, they see a Lord of the Rings trailer pop up and they're like, oh my God, we're getting more Lord of the Rings content. That's awesome. Let me just like this video real quick. And there's 27 million people, almost 28 million people who have seen this trailer. And for it to be more dislikes than likes is really crazy. I don't think people truly can understand how crazy it is. I don't think they can truly grasp how crazy it is that this trailer got ratioed that hard. And then you go to the comments, and this is even more impressive than the ratio in my opinion. Everyone is just spamming this same quote from J.R.R. Tolkien. Evil is not capable of creating anything new. It can only distort and destroy what has been invented or made by the forces of good. And people are even spamming that in my comment section. They're spamming that on every single person who's making videos about this comment section. I don't mind it because I think it's a good and powerful quote, and I think it's very, very relevant to today and what's going on, not only with the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, but also with a lot of other IPs. We had the new Matrix movie. We had, Star Wars did it with the sequel trilogy. They just totally disrespected a lot of George Lucas's work, especially with the Rise of Skywalker. And we had, now Marvel is contradicting stuff that happened in the comics with other comics, as well as stuff that's happening in the MCU. So this is just, it's a very relevant quote to today, not only with the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, but also with all of these, legacy IPs, all of these older beloved IPs that are being brought back in today. And then they're injecting politics, inserting these agendas that they have. And also, even if they don't do that, they're just simply not acknowledging the creator, the original creator of these IPs. One show that I think that has done it pretty well with not only making good new content but also acknowledging the old content is Cobra Kai. I think every time a studio resurrects an old IP or continues, reboots, whatever you want to call an old IP, they should use Cobra Kai as kind of the template. Obviously, it's not, tremendous script writing. It feels kind of soap opera-y whenever it comes to the acting and the dialogue and stuff like that. But I think that they have shown tremendous respect to what has come before it, and also creating a good storyline going forward, a good new storyline, something that feels fresh, that doesn't feel like it's just rehashing the old movies. It feels fresh, but at the same time, it's definitely paying respect to what came before it. And I think that Star Wars hasn't done that. Lord of the Rings doesn't seem like it's going to do that. It seems like Lord of the Rings might be the worst one out of all of them with the Rings of Power. And Marvel's not doing that anymore. Even though Marvel was doing that before, they're not doing it anymore. They're definitely disrespecting the old content. Like I said, not only in the MCU, but also in the comics. They're straight up disrespecting it. And DC is doing the same thing with their comics. So I just thought a couple of these articles were pretty funny. The history of fantasy is radicalized. Lord of the Rings series sparks debate over race. I like to read over these articles that are just written by absolute idiots. As the new Lord of the Rings series gears up for its September launch on Amazon, the company finds itself navigating treacherous, if familiar waters, and has already triggered a fierce debate over race by introducing characters of color into J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy world. And I don't think, like I said, I think I probably said this if you watched my video earlier today about everything's going to be all white. I said this earlier. I don't think it's simply the fact that they're introducing characters of color into the show. That's not why people are mad. That's not why I'm mad anyway. I think that if you are mad about that simple fact, then you probably have something wrong with you. That's not why. It's not simply because they're doing that on the surface. It's because it's totally contradicting J.R.R. Tolkien's work, because there wasn't any people of color in the movies, and this is supposed to be a prequel series. So what happened to all of them? That's the first problem. Second problem is, like I said earlier in my video, is that this is in bad faith. They're doing this in bad faith. We all know it. We all know that this isn't in good faith. We all know that they're doing it in bad faith. They're doing it to spite certain people. They don't actually care about making good Lord of the Rings content. They're simply doing it to spite certain groups of people. And they're probably trying to spite me and spite you. The tech giant has spent a dragon's dungeon of gold on adapting the beloved story, famous for its cultish fans, some of whom are deeply enmeshed in the right-wing culture war industry. Yeah. That's definitely pretty accurate for Lord of the Rings fans, right? All of them are deeply enmeshed into the right-wing culture war industry. That's where I'm just going to stop reading this article, and that's where you should stop reading these articles as well, because you can just tell this person is an absolute idiot. It's an idiot. It's just straight up an idiot. It's a lunatic. Probably has some sort of TDS, and that's when we just move on. That's what the journalism industry is filled with now. People like that. People who just write things just because it'll be inflammatory, just because it'll get more clicks because of how inflammatory it is. And they're just idiots, man. That's just all they are. Amazon's Lord of the Rings looks a lot like Peter Jackson's. Will that be enough to bring in the viewers? I honestly disagree. I don't think it looks that much like Peter Jackson's. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that this looks like Peter Jackson's? Because I don't think it does. I just don't think it does. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments about this whole situation. What do you think about Lord of the Rings on the US Prime Video being officially ratioed? I think that's a pretty big accomplishment. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this whole situation. Do you think it could actually be good, or do you think it'll be as bad as everyone thinks it's going to be? If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the link to that will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.